let's begin. Welcome, everybody. This is our second Kroxover. Right now, we are sitting with Subtractem. I'm really glad to be here with him. He's a really cool person. Like we were having like a little podcast of our own some minutes back, and well, I cannot wait to talk here with Subtractem and just enjoy a bit. So before we start, in case somebody doesn't know you already, can you tell us a bit about you?
Yeah. Oh man, I'm so old. I can talk forever. So I am I'm a person.
Oh,
I am currently a
didn't see
Path of
that
Exile
coming.
streamer. Yeah, I'm a person. Yeah, I can give the whole story. Yeah, so I've been streaming Path of Exile full time for about 8 to 9 months now. I have a long history at playing competitive games across genres. I was also a software developer that worked in and out of the game industry for many years. I am probably older than most of you, so I have lots of fun stories to tell. And my main objective as a content creator is to always focus on a holistic viewpoint of how do we just have fun playing video games.
All right, perfect. Like I just wanna quote you, like you were saying earlier, like you like to optimize for happiness, right?
Yes,
I
exactly.
I love that phrase, and that's like that's one of the first things I think we should talk about, because the real reason why you're here is because you take the game as it is, as a game. Like there is a lot of people like myself, like before I get into the realization that this was a game, I was thinking like, all right, what's the highest DPS? What's the best way to make exalts? What's this? What's that? And usually you don't find fun doing that thing. You don't really like it, but you do it because it's the best thing you can do to find the fastest boss skill, the better exalts per hour or whatever. And you just do whatever feels good to do, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's I totally understand. Like I've had people, like the number of people that come into my chat, and I'm sure you get this, like I'm sure all PoE streamers get this. People come in and they say, how do I make the most, how do I make the most money? Or how do I get the highest DPS? Like is this, is this build wave 30 simulacrum viable? Can this do the feared, in 0.1 seconds or whatever? And like when that is the only way you're looking at anything, it is very limiting. And I think I just started talking about this the past week or so. Is I think of Path of Exile is it's really just a sandbox, and especially it's a PVE game. I guess there technically is PvP in the game, but it's
Yeah,
really just a
right.
PVE game, right? And like the only thing that you need to challenge is yourself. Like that's really all there is. It's like it's really player versus player, and that other player is yourself. And the challenge is, am I having fun doing this? And that's why, like last night, I had a lot of fun. I put on Osiris shards, I put in GMP, I put in Frostbolt and Creeping Frost, and I just went up and down yellow maps, throwing a billion projectiles and laughing like so hard because it was hilarious. Like putting on all the MTX to just like blind myself and not be able to see what was on the screen. And is that a good build? Probably not, right? That's not like, it's probably never going to kill Cirrus or anything, but it's just hilarious and fun. And like when I have the most fun in this game is when I'm like sitting there in Blood Aqueducts and I have an inventory full of different gems and I'm just putting them into weird things and just seeing like
Yes.
what happens, right? It's just a sandbox of like what can happen. And like that is every way to play the game, as long as you're having fun, is valid. Like even if you never beat the campaign and you just say, you know what, every season I want to play a new league, I want to kill Katava and do a new build killing Katava, that is okay. You don't need to make 10 mirrors every league and MF tower for 18 headhunters and burn yourself out and like kill your wrists and everything. Like that is absolutely not necessary to enjoy PoE.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's so true. And I started like doing that. And interesting enough, like you actually make really good builds when you think about fun. because usually what you like to do is what everybody likes to do in some way. Like, you don't want a build that is clunky. Like, you need to trigger these 20 war cries and then have everything correctly do, so you can do one earthquake and kill everything in one hit. Like, people don't really like to do that. Like, it's fun to see like one time, but you don't really want like to do it. But you like a build like, oh, you just enter the map and you kill stuff, and usually like you get big because you have like one spare learning. You usually don't die because you have this defense, this that. Like, yeah, the boss takes like 5 seconds to die instead of 1.2 or whatever. But look, it's so fun. Like, that's one thing. Like, I was thinking, for example, this league, I played a lot of time Herald of Thunder, like I was telling you, but I started with an Elementalist because my goal was, what's the cheapest Herald of Thunder build I can make that is actually good to farm, not to kill bosses, just to farm, and it must feel good. And I ended up like 10 exalts, Elementalist, and did every content, like everything except invitations. And to be honest, some invitations, but not the hidden and not the fear, obviously.
Yeah.
But I did everything so well, and people just come to the stream and are like, "Yo, that build, how much it costs? Like, can I do it with 50x?" Like, dude, it's only 10x. You can do it. I don't have a lot of damage. I only have like 3 millions, but it's enough to do a Scourge. It's enough to do maps, because you blow things up and feels good to play. And people really likes that. You don't need like that huge DPS, that huge life or whatever. And actually you make good builds thinking of, or like you said, optimizing for happiness. You really make good builds thinking that way. Like, there is like, I remember this guy that was playing, only likes to play Cold Dots. And he played every league that, and some league he came and said like, I make this Cold Slinger for like 3x and I just kill zeros with this thing. Like, nobody does that because Cold Slinger tends to be really slow to kill, so nobody likes that. And he just made a good build, only thinking at whatever he finds fun. And I really think that's a good philosophy to guide you, not only in PoE, like every game. Just do whatever you find fun.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean that's exactly how I make my builds, and that's the challenging thing, is figuring out the right feel. It takes a lot of time.
Yes,
and that's the problem. Is like, I only make a few build guides every league at the most, because I spend a lot of time. Like, you go to, it would be nice if PoE Ninja had like a sort by fun, instead of sort by DPS. And like, there's a lot of things like, everyone is just gonna sort by DPS, right? And you see a lot of those are gonna have like 2,000 HP. They're going to like, all of the the DPS uptime is going to be like, okay, I have to drop Arcanist Brand, I have to drop Hydrosphere, I have to wait for everything to happen, and then I have good DPS. And like, I like with my in-stacking Raider that I did last week, it took me 3 weeks to make the build. and then with that build guide though, I put the whole thing together for about 50 exalts, and the DPS isn't very high, but I do things like not use Arcanist Brand, and I make sure that I am able to get lightning exposure as just using Power Siphon, and I don't have to like put down Hydrosphere for the exposure. And so like, I sacrifice some of that top end damage to just make it smooth and fun to play all the way through. So you're just never going to see my build if you sort by DPS or anything, but it's very, very tanky, solid damage, and smooth and easy to play. You're just not going to find it unless you're looking for like, most fun to play build, like easiest, most quality of life build on youtube.com, right? Like, that's just, there's no way to sort for that right now.
Yeah, that's an interesting question. Like, I know you are a developer, so, or you were, I don't know if you are
in the past life, yeah.
Yeah. So how will you do it if your task was that? Like, you need to make a sort by fun in PoE.
Oh, interesting. Well, the first thing that I would look at is number of active skills that the build has. That's like the very first thing that I would do.
What I was thinking.
Like that would be an awesome thing on PoE Ninja, is sort by number of active skills. And then you find like the one button auto bombers are at the top, and then you find like the war cry, everything lines up at the bottom, and then people could just sort by like, and then you could have like sort by move speed, and then if you had multiple filters, you could do like, I want the highest move speed and the fewest buttons, and then you could just have something like that, and that'd be pretty fun.
Yeah, that's so cool. I was thinking exactly that because usually fun builds are like that. You just focus on what's happening on screen and you're not so focused on, all right, like 5 seconds, I need to click this button, and in 2 seconds, I need to click this other button, and then I need to be sure I'm not getting bleed because I need to click this other button or whatever because I don't have an immunity flask. I only have like the guard skill that remove bleeds, and all of that needs to line up, and that those builds tend to be really stressful. Like for example, I don't know what's your take on there is a build right now that I think I'm not gonna tell you what I think. I want to hear you.
Self curse jug. Is that what you're gonna ask about?
Yes.
So I think builds like that are novel and interesting, and they're not my style of build. They're like my anti-style, basically. They're the opposite of how I make builds. You're never going to see me use March of the Legion in any build that I ever make. But I think it's cool that clever interaction exists. But I think it's also very important to understand that it is not a quality of life build, and it's a hyper specialized build. It is only for Simulacrum and Delve. And that's it. Like, it is not a mapping build. It's not a general purpose build. And that's why, like, we were talking about this a while ago. Like, the hype of stuff in Path of Exile is really, well, we touched on a little bit. Like, the hype train and everything in PoE is really challenging, right? Because that build is really novel and interesting. And it absolutely is exciting, for our silly monkey brains. Is like, we see this like, holy cow, he has 1,000 trauma stacks and he's invincible, and that's so cool. But like, the road to get there and like what it actually feels like to play and the very limited content that it can do, unless you make that connection, like, okay, that's a cool thing. Someone came up with a clever interaction, does this one thing. But like, the fact that the price of all of that gear skyrocketed, and then there was like a backlash. Like, no one, like, Tripolar Bear and Rutu and all them, like, they didn't lie, right? They were just like, this is what the build is for, right? And they showed what the build is for. No one said this is a general mapping build.
Yeah.
But people get hyped about it. They buy all the gear and they're like, okay, I have this build that can only do simulacrums. Now I'm angry. And it's like, well, you gotta understand the expectations of what the build is gonna do and what it feels like. And that it is really challenging, because the most quality of life and smooth to play builds generally aren't as exciting, and they're not gonna get, they're not gonna usually skyrocket other prices and get all that hype.
Yeah, and I'm totally with you, but you think that build is like healthy for the game? That kind of.
Oh no, it needs to be nerfed. It needs to be nerfed.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah, no. I think and that's the cool thing about PoE is, and there's like a 99% chance they will nerf it. They will allow something like that as long as it's not giga game breaking, like that the blood magic reservation thing with the Krangle from earlier. Like, that was just broken, right? Okay, you can reserve every aura in the game. That's obviously like a broken thing in the game. They hot fix that. But this is something where it's like, it's so hyper specialized. It doesn't break the game. It is overpowered and it shouldn't happen. But it's okay. That I think it's cool that GGG leaves it for the rest of the league. And like, you know what? You guys made a crazy build. Enjoy the power fantasy, right? That is the cool thing about it's a PvE game. Doesn't hurt anyone else to have an OP build. And they leave it in. But all they have to do is say cooldown for Shadeform doesn't start until until Shadeform ends. Problem fixed, right?
I was thinking like the mantra of flames is the thing that's stacking the damage. I was thinking like Bone Shatter, it's only one effect.
Yeah, that is another way to really kick it when it's down. Yeah, for sure. Anything like that. I mean, Mantra of Flames abuse was also why Burning Arrow Elementalist 2 patches ago was really strong. Because you had all of your golems counted as Mantra of Flames, and you could stack in crazy flat damage for your Burning Arrow. Yeah, I mean, I think it's clever and cute, but that is something that like not intended to have 1,000 trauma stacks and one hit everything in the so.
Yeah, of course. I, I also like, since you worked on some games, can you tell me like what's, how to say it, like, I don't know if you saw like the old videos about GGG, like they used to showcase builds.
Yeah, yeah. I remember the old cast on death discharge.
Oh yeah.
That was the assassin cast on death discharge, and then like it's so the perfect dry delivery of Chris Wilson saying, "This build has limited viability in hardcore." Like just such a perfect way to put that.
Yeah. Also, like those kind of things like that really break the game or are unintended. They used to be showcased like, oh, look at this guy. He made or she made something really cool, and we're gonna preserve it because it's really really cool. And we not just that, we're gonna show it to you because look at this. Like for example, I remember one that was like you place like a skill on the mouse wheel and you just
oh yeah, was that like, oh,
I don't remember what it was,
yeah.
but yeah, you just turn your wheel like crazy and the skill
You can
just
do like weapon. There was like a weapon swap
weapon
one
swap.
too.
I think that was
weapon swap on the mouse wheel. Yeah.
like right now that just doesn't happen. That doesn't happen. Like they just quietly go and nerf it. What do you think about that? You think that's a thing because they're a bigger company and they don't want to be like, oh, this game is a clown fiesta, or because something happened, changed? I don't know.
I think it's just that the game. The game is. It has to live for too long, right? And this is a problem with you see this in like card games a lot, is they will like severely nerf some, like they will, sometimes they'll just like remove a mechanic from a card game and they will just say, this like Hearthstone is famous for this. They would say, this limited our design space. And so the problem is when you have these local maxima of certain mechanics that work together, there is, and you know, it might not be that I hesitate to ever say something as the global maxima because we never know. The game's too complicated, but we might hit these local maxima of things of and like interactions that are so strong that no one's going to do anything else. And and like the design space becomes limited because GGG's looking at what they're able to do with like different mechanics and put new things in the game. And it's like, well, they're just going to keep doing that thing. And unless this new thing we put in there is insanely OP and even more broken, no one's going to do that. And everyone's just going to do this old thing. And that's just like, yeah, that's just the way that game design and game balance works, is you got to be really careful about like, and that's the cool thing about, you know, going back to, you know, how GGG works is, and the league system is, all right, we're going to leave it for 3 months, but you better be ready for that thing's probably going to get nerfed. So, and that's what I tell a lot of people is, if you have fun, you know, have fun with your build. And it is sad when they get nerfed. Like I have a lot of builds in standard that they're just like, they don't work, but it's, you know, enjoy that build while it is, but don't get super connected. You know, the video game is just this connection of systems. Like I love my Elementalist. My Tri-Herald BV was my first good build, right? The old Tri-Herald BV, you would flame dash into a pack and the whole game would freeze. You go like chunk, chunk, and then the Herald of Ice would shatter and like 3 screens would explode.
Yeah, I remember
right?
that.
And it felt so good, and she's just like a noodle now. And that build doesn't work whatsoever, and that's okay. I had my fun, and you know, move on past that fun, and you can you know, look to the future and look for the new builds and look for the new mechanics. And like that's why like I don't get super excited about like I try really hard to not bank on nostalgia for a lot of things. And I try to look at each piece of art or each build or whatever it was, like certain books, movies, whatever, through that lens of when I enjoyed it, that moment in time of when I was happy. And I don't, you know, I don't want to be 60 years old and just be like, oh man, I really loved watching The Matrix, and like, you know, boot that movie up again and just be like, when you're 60 years old, The Matrix might not be, you know, it's not going to do the same thing. And if anything, it's going to like tarnish those memories, right? Like I remember when I first got like emulators. I legally emulated every ROM, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But I remember like
Yeah.
I enjoyed Battletoads when I was really little. I thought Battletoads on the NES was super super fun. But I was like 8 years old, and I probably never got past the second level. Like Battletoads has like one good, like the first level of Battletoads, perfectly designed. And later on, when I was like 25, I emulated it, and I beat the whole game by using save states. And I was like, this game like has one good level, and the rest of the game is like not good. And it's like not good design. It's like Mario 3 is like a billion times better. But when I was little, for some reason, I thought Battletoads was cooler. And I would rather actually have that old memory of really loving Battletoads, but now I tarnish that memory by trying to go back to nostalgia and like, oh, it was actually not as good as I remember it. That's why I have no desire to go back and play vanilla WoW or anything like that. I enjoyed WoW when I was, like 20 years old. That's okay. That can be where it is. I have moved on. I don't need to grind to level 60 by like leveling up my bandages or whatever. Yeah. I'm past that.
Yeah, that's something that's really interesting. Like, and we connected back to PoE because back in the day, like there was so little information, so little. Like everything you discovered was new, not just for you. Like was new to everybody, and now everybody knows everything. Like, and not just to PoE, like in gaming in general. Like, for example, Elden Ring. We were talking like we really want to play Elden Ring when it comes out. And there's been like at least 2,000 hours combined in playtests from, I don't know, 3 guys, probably. There's 3 guys that play a total of 2,000 hours. Those guys made so many videos, and now you know like most of the game.
I'm not watching a single one of them.
No, I'm not help myself.
You watched?
I only watched one. I watched one, but I saw the titles. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm not gonna spoil anything, but yeah. What do you think about that? Like, that's just the era we live now. Like, everybody knows everything, and there is really a few things you can discover in a game. What?
It's tough, yeah. I mean, I think talking about World of Warcraft is very appropriate for this as well. Like, early World of Warcraft, we didn't have plugins to tell us where to go for everything. We did have, what was it, wowhead.com? Oh, I think it was wowhead.com, long time ago. Like sometimes there would be a couple quests there, like if you got stuck, but there was like nothing. There was no like quest marker to tell you exactly where to go. And like, you could argue that that's not very good, but there was something magical about like, I just gotta slowly walk around and explore things. I very vividly remember the first time walking into Faralas and just seeing the beautiful trees and all of that stuff. And like now, if I played World of Warcraft, it would be, all right, I'm going to download these 10 plugins built into the game. I'm going to have a line that tells me exactly where to go. I'm just going to go to, A to B, B to C, and level up, and then I'm just going to get into like the quest finder or the the dungeon finder. Boom, 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 click, click, click. And there is a magical thing about like what vanilla was like. All right, we're gonna sit outside Wailing Caverns, and I'm gonna talk in global chat like, looking for one more priest, please. We have no healer. Yes. And like, yeah, that's probably not good game design. It does feel kind of crappy if you try to go back to it. But there is something special about that exploration. Like one of my favorite anecdotes about just like where games came from and everything is just like the story of Miyazaki and Mario, and specifically Zelda, and like where it came from. And like Zelda was entirely based on his childhood memories of exploring the caves outside in the in the countryside, and then his experience of just like, oh, I found this bug or something, or I went in the cave and I found a pool of water, and that inspired him to make like the fairy pool or something. And there is something very, very special about that imagination and that creativity, and like not just the spectacle or the competitiveness, but like looking at it as this like really transformative art form that can make you feel things. And yeah, in today's day and age where it's like, all right, I'm just going to watch a video, I'm going to see all the spoilers. and now I'm just gonna like X, Y, and Z. I'm gonna open up the wiki. Okay, when I fight Lady Butterfly, I make sure that I'm just okay. I see her charge up. I'm gonna dash left once. All right, I go block, block, block. I dash right. I go block, and then I can hit her 3 times.
I
And like
died
if you just
so
go
many times.
right, and if you just go to the wiki and you go straight to
Yes.
YouTube and you say how to fight Lady Butterfly, it's just the whole fun of playing one of those
It's
games
gone.
is that exploration, right? Like
you do
that
it
fun,
in
like
one
that.
try, two tries, and that's it.
Yeah, it should be like this. If you've ever seen Getting Over It, that game where there's the guy in the bucket, and you have to like slowly. You have a hammer and a bucket, and you have to like get up the cliff.
I haven't played it, but I know what game you're talking about.
Yeah, so it's the whole game is like you're actually having a conversation with the developer, and the developer is like early on, the developer like goads you a little bit, and he's like, really, did you think you thought you could do this? But then as you persevere, you actually are having a conversation with the developer's like artistic vision, and like by the end of it, you almost feel a connection with him. And actually, the first people that, I don't know if this is still true, but when you beat the game, you actually joined a global chat channel, and you could chat with the other people that beat the game. And it was like, it's such a challenging game. And the developer was in there. And it was like, you formed this community of people that overcame something challenging and interesting. And you get this really cathartic and growing experience of accomplishing something that's just really unique, and you actually had to like push against the boundaries of comfort, and you grow as a person. And that's like what he was trying to accomplish through creating a video game. And I think just going straight to a wiki and cheating and everything, and that's why they bring it all back to Path of Exile. Like the thing for me is like, that's what I enjoy about my builds, right? Like my last league, I made a cast on crit arc raider with cold conversion. Yeah. And that build took me an entire month of experimentation and trying different things and like crafting very, very specific gear. But when it all came together, I was so proud of it. And like that's like the big thing for me in my content is I just want to teach people and give them the tools. Like I really, really don't believe in like carbon copy. Like, okay, I'm going to PoE Ninja, copy, paste. And then here's this build. Like what I want to do is like my most recent guide that I made last week. It's an hour-long video. 45 minutes are me talking about how I crafted every single piece of gear and why, and like where, like this is why I use this skill gem, how it works. Here's a demonstration. And like, and the purpose is to give people the tools to put together their own version of it and not just to copy paste me. And I think that's the way that I like to think about everything.
Yeah, like I've been thinking about like talking about the game, about the build, and don't give people the POV.
Yeah. Oh, that's exact. I said that yesterday too. I was like, you know what would be really cool is if we didn't give people POVs, because like I had people that were opening the POV and they're like, this is wrong. And I'm like, well, if you watch the video, you would have seen why I did it, right? But people look at the POV and they're like, this is wrong, you're wrong. And like, I made an hour-long video. Like, come on, you have to engage with me here. Yeah.
There is a meme in the channel right now because the build I was talking about, the Herald of Thunder Elementalist, has a lot of mechanics. They're weird mechanics like recop, mana, and stuff. And actually, I use Mind Over Matter on that build. That's really weird. So, I'm the video takes like 30 minutes, 30 minutes maybe, 30 minutes. Sorry, and some people just come to the chat and say, Kroxy, can you tell me why I'm out of mana? I don't understand why I'm out of mana. All right. By any chance you saw the video? Oh, yeah, I saw it. And you took the POV. Yeah. Then why are you lying to me? Because I said exactly why. And I see maybe his POV and he has a life flask. And I don't have a life flask. I use a La Bianca flask because that heals your mana, then restore your Mind Over Matter. And also I use agnostic. So everything is, you don't need life flask. And well, that's a meme because every day there's someone that comes and asks something that's explained in the video, like why every time the Herald Thunder hits, I lose life, why I losing money and stuff. And yeah, that's a meme already. But yeah, I was thinking about that, but I thought it was a bit diabolic, not giving the POV. So I probably still gonna give it at least a bit more. At least a bit more. I'm gonna keep giving.
You know what would be fun is if you put the link in the video at the very end, and
Oh, you need to
they have
copy.
to manually type it
Oh,
in. They have to actually type it in. So like,
that's
here's the
so
paste bin.
good.
Yeah, and you only get the POV if you watch the whole video.
That's so good. Oh my god. I think I kinda fucked up because I sound like a squirrel now.
Uh-oh. Sounds fine to me.
Yeah, not in the Discord, but I'm gonna sound like a squirrel for like 30 seconds because I
Okay.
forgot to turn that off. So I gotta
Is
turn it off.
is that a channel point?
Yeah, a channel
Yeah.
point. I forgot to do it. So people are laughing so hard. I
I
don't
don't know if it's gonna sound like that in the video.
Discord sounds fine.
Yeah, but whatever. All right. So let's see. Moving on a little bit of builds and stuff. What do you think about PoE? You were playing PoE for how long now?
Since Parandus 2.2, which is about 6 years now, I think.
You think PoE has grown as a game, or you think they're doing something quite different? What do you think about PoE, about the transformation? Because for me, it's like almost a different game.
It's a very different game. Yeah. That's a hard question to answer because we have that nostalgic stuff we were just talking about,
Yes.
right? There was something special about my first build. There were no tools out there. There's no POB. And my first build was like I had a Pledge of Hands, Occultist, Self-Cast, Ice Nova. And I didn't know what I was doing. I don't know. I don't remember if I was scared. I think I had Elemental Overload even at like level 90. I didn't know about crit or anything. And a Tormented Spirit. I remember exactly what made me quit. It was my first league ever. A Tormented Spirit it touched a bunch of monsters that did the silence on hit thing. And so I was standing in the middle of the monsters, like pressing my Ice Nova, and nothing happened. And I was like, this game sucks. And I just alt F4'd, and that was the end of my first league. But like, and then I actually skipped Prophecy and I played Harbinger after that. But there was something like special about that feeling of like, there was nothing to teach me what it was. Like, I don't even know if the wiki existed. If it did, it was not very good. And the game was just like, things happen. It's complicated. You're going to die. The game is still like that, but we have a lot of tools now. And so like I definitely like PoE more now, but we definitely lost that exploratory thing. And that's why whenever I have a new person coming in my chat saying, hey, this game looks cool, should I play it? The number one thing I say is just like, I really strongly, like, if you want to enjoy this game in the long term, like you were actually saying like a while ago when we were chatting, like, don't just like watch a stream and don't look at like what people are doing, right? Like I'm doing Headhunter Nemesis 3 farming down in Glennick right now, right? Like it looks like a different game, right? Like don't look at that. Just, you can, listen to the stream, hang out, you can talk and chat or something, but try not to focus on what the streamers are doing or like what the end game looks like. Enjoy that process of like really learning, being confused, but being able to explore. You mentioned it earlier, Preach Gaming, his experience a couple months ago of just, no walkthroughs, no guides, anything. He's just going to explore the game. Like, I think, he obviously had a challenge to not look up anything. But I would set some boundaries to like, okay, I enjoy learning this game. Do that for try to do it for an entire league, at least like a full month or something. And then when you hit some boundaries, maybe have a couple friends of yours that you can ask questions. They can teach you a couple things here and there, and just like, oh, well, actually, this is how block works, and it's not just like it's not just free or something. And like, if you enjoy that process, as soon as you enjoy that process, start opening up POB, start opening up PoE Ninja, look up some build guides, but you'll have those core tools of learning and knowing where to explore and where to look for things. And I think that will just like, that'll give you the foundation for enjoying the game on the very long term. And I think if you just like copy paste builds, you're like, oh, it looks like Magic Find and Towers, the way to play the game. Okay, I'm going to do that. Like, I guess that is the meta right now. I have zero interest in MF. That's okay if you want to do it. but that's not how I enjoy playing the game. And I stay away. Like I try really hard. Like I don't try really hard. I just generally gravitate away from meta things. And I feel like I enjoy the game more with less burnout because I just do the thing that's fun. Like, I'm just going to put on Syra shards, put in Awakened GMP, and I'm just going to spin around and throw a bunch of projectiles. And it's fun. And like, if you think about that, and that's how you play the game, you'll be able to play it for a long term.
Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, I can vibe with that. Like, the game is so different now, and it's really, really hard to do something that feels fun. That if you are looking all the time at what streamers are doing, YouTubers are doing, it's really, really hard to find the thing that's fun for you, because usually what's fun for you, it might not be fun for other person. So yeah, but right now you think that PoE is going into like how to say, like, it's okay. I don't know how to say, like, PoE 2 is coming like sometime soon, like in a year maybe. I don't know. Maybe it's copium, but I think a year we're gonna be seeing some PoE 2. Maybe not the launch, but definitely like beta. I think we're gonna see PoE 2. You think what we think about PoE 2 and what we know about PoE right now is gonna make a game that's gonna be long lasting, or what's your take on that?
Oh, that's a tough question. I mean, PoE has already lived longer than so many games.
Yes.
I think that the big thing that we can look at is the history of GGG and how they've adapted to things. And, we had Last League, which was, for better or worse, was a little bit of a blunder. They had to do some of that pulling back on the power creep, but they did learn from it. And they are a good team that knows how to adapt and design for the future. If people haven't seen, Chris Wilson did give a GDC talk a number of years ago that is said designing PoE to be played forever. If you haven't seen that, it is a really, really good talk. And if you have any lack of confidence that they know what they're doing, if you watch that talk, like the fact that the CEO, right, like this is like the number one thing for me. The CEO of the game, I don't care what angry people on the internet say, he knows what he's doing. He knows the game really, really well. Like, he might not know the ins and outs of every single league, but he was there from day one, working with the team, designing core systems. He knows how the economy works. He knows how all this stuff works really, really well. And he's not just another business guy. And I think that really, he has some differing opinions, right? Like, he believes in hard mode, right? And that's okay. But the other thing is, he knows hard mode isn't for everyone. And I think it'll be a fun thing for people to try. It probably will just, there'll be a couple people that play it here and there, and it probably won't be big.
If I can jump a bit, like, also he's willing to put himself in risk, going to podcasts with content creators, in not just in any podcast. He's going podcasts when people are angry, people that really don't like the game right now, they don't like some decision, and he's willing to do that. Like, that for me, that means a lot. It means like he really cares about the game. Sorry for cutting you off.
Yeah, no, that's perfectly supports my my point. I mean, I just can't think of another I guess I simp for Chris Wilson pretty hard. Like, I can't think of another like big name developer that has really delivered consistently for so long, right? Like, many of the people that I liked so much, they had a lot of, and I guess Chris Wilson, is very focused, right, on his one game. But like, you look at, Peter Molyneux or Sid Meier or any of those, those old guys, they kind of, they're kind of hit or miss, right?
Maybe the Final Fantasy guy, I don't remember his name.
Yeah, people love him. Yeah, the Final Fantasy 14 guy.
Yes.
People absolutely love him. I played a little Final Fantasy 14. I had to stop because it was just going to take a lot of time, but it is a very well-made game. Like, I started playing it, I was like, this is dangerous.
Yeah,
and so
I felt like you played Lineage.
I did not play Lineage, but I've had friends that grinded that game real hard.
I felt just like starting to play Lineage, and when I started playing, I was a kid. that had a lot of time and can just do 10 hours straight of the game and every day do it. And right now I was like, yeah, exactly what you said. This is dangerous. It's gonna take a lot of time. So I decided just to go a little bit back and play other things because I really like playing different games. Sorry for jumping so
Yeah, no, go
here to
ham.
there, but this is something interesting. We were talking about like jumping games. Like people in PoE really likes different things, and you can see it like in the league. Like league starts, there's a lot of people playing PoE, and suddenly, like a month, maybe if their league is really good, 2 months into the league, people start leaving, and they play different things. And every league, they just come back in, and that's interesting how PoE can just do that every 3 months. They just can't do it, and that's crazy. Like I don't remember like anything. Like even games like League or Dota, they introduce a new champion or hero, and people don't really care. Like, all right, fun, but it is that's not the impact that PoE has. Maybe I don't think even like Diablo that also has like seasons don't have that impact.
Yeah, I probably shouldn't talk too much about my opinion of Diablo.
Well,
Yeah, I mean, the game is what it is. It was a very simple game, and it stayed a very simple game, and that is what it is. And that's okay. Like if you want to just play the simple game, new season, I'm just gonna play for 2 days and that's it. But no new mechanics. But yeah, it's like the cool thing about PoE is just like it rewards you for learning more, and there is always something. Like it is so complex. There is always something to learn. Like straight up, like even the most gigabrain player in the entire planet. You could go to them and be like, "Oh, you remember this unique?" And they're like, "What? I totally forgot about that unique." Like, because there's like the 1,000 of them, and there's just something beautiful of like a really fun thing that I like to do is like if I want to get inspired or something, I can just go to the wiki and type in list of unique unique helmets or something, and you just scroll down the list of unique helmets. Like what? Okay, we got that. And then, they added this new skill, we got Energy Blade or something, and I got this crazy helmet. Let's see if these work. And it's a game that but it also, yeah, you can, like when I play this, if I'm not playing this full time as a streamer, I am just playing like 1 to 2 leagues a year. And that's the beautiful thing is you miss nothing. Like a league is purely transient. You can skip 1 league, 2 leagues, 3 leagues, and they're as long as you're willing to be patient about that re-education process of picking up on everything, it's you can just hop into a new league and play, and it absolutely does not, like the day that they add like daily quests to the game is the day that I start worrying about the direction of the game. But they have nothing like that, right? Like if you choose to log in, that is your own choice, and you can just you have to make your own fun. And yeah, if you struggle to make your own fun and it becomes a habit of like logging in and grinding and you're not enjoying it, what I constantly encourage people to do is just shut the game off, go for a walk, uninstall the game, play it, wait 6 months, set a calendar timer, wait 6 months, watch your favorite streamer, play the game, but don't play it yourself, just enjoy the rest of your life. And when you get inspired and there's something fun to do that you really want to do in the game, hop back in. But there is nothing in the game telling you to grind really, really hard. That is a self-imposed challenge.
That remember me like there was a guy, I don't remember if it was this league or last league, that just came to the stream and was like, "Hey, this game looks different. I played some time ago, but it looks really different." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, there's a lot of change this league. How long what's the last league you played?" "Oh, like Bridge. I think Bridge was the last league I played." It was like, "Oh my god, there's a lot here." I was like, like you remember the Masters? Well, they're all gone. There's no more.
Now you kill them. Now you fight them.
And now you kill them exactly. And there is so many things. Like you remember the Shaper? Well, that's no more in the Atlas. And I don't know. He didn't even knew about the Atlas. It was like, "Look, there is the Atlas," and was like, "What?" And you know the pass skills where you have pass skills inside the atlas. It was so fun, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I'm going back him." And I don't remember the nickname, but yeah, I think he came back and play a lot. I think it was last league, if I'm not wrong. But yeah, that's really really important. Like you can just not play a league. If the league really don't interest you, you see a league like, for example, there's a lot of people in Expedition that was like, "Oh, I really don't like the way Expedition looks," and I was like, "Sure, don't play it. Don't play it. It's okay. It's okay. Don't play it. Like next league, maybe it's more for you or whatever." And well, yeah, that's exactly my point. You can just not play PoE for a league, two, or even more. And there's people that say, like in almost every video, I'm just gonna wait for PoE 2.
Yeah, I mean that's a-okay to do. There's nothing wrong with doing that. You know, and the crazy thing is, like, if anything ever inspires you, it's like it looks really really cool. And like also, be careful about the hype train. Like GGG does a really good job of rolling that hype train every single league start. But do take it all with a grain of salt. Like think about that this is a big thing about just life in general. Is just like advertising is really powerful. It's a very strong tool, and like really sit back and think about like, okay, I see the trailer for whatever league or whatever it is. Think about like just do a little visualization exercise. Sit down and like, okay, what is it going to feel like a month into the league? And this is the mechanic. Like, okay, Scourge is I'm going to press V, maybe twice a map. I'm going to kill some more monsters. Looks like the output of the Scourge mechanic is like, not very good. Nothing else is changing. And we get some stat. Like, am I going to spend hundreds of hours playing a video game because I like the fact that Scarabs stack now? That's the thing that you have to ask yourself, right? Like, if none of the new skills excite you, if none of the new uniques excite you, we have really good uniques that are, untouchable for most people. There's that. But there's really think about like, okay, do I want to get into this, or do I want to spend the next week, the next 2 to 4 weeks of my life going rock climbing? Maybe there's even a TV show you want to catch up on, or read a book, or there's like a new single player video game. Like put it all into perspective and balance, and like what is going to be more fun to you. And if you really always think about it through that lens, when you decide to play a league, you're gonna be way more confident that's gonna be fun. You're not like, oh, I have to grind 40 out of 40 challenges because that's what I do. And it's like, put it all into like, if you're going to get hit by a bus tomorrow, this is like my extreme thing that I always say, right? Like, if you're gonna get hit by a bus tomorrow, are you gonna regret the fact that you spent 18 hours grinding tier 3 towers yesterday instead of, calling your mom, going for a walk, reading a book, petting your dog or something? Like, make sure that you're balancing the rest of your life against that, and you're not just grinding out something and sacrificing your actual happiness.
There is a lot of people that hate when I make examples like that, so dramatic. Like you cannot make an example with the exception, and yeah, that's why rules exist, because of the exception.
Yeah.
But yeah, like totally. Going back to what PoE is doing, or GGG is doing with PoE, have you read like the Navali changes for next league?
Yeah, those are cool. So that's a really good question about. Well, I can already go off into like what I've been talking about into my chat is the number one thing that I say, and this is why I try really hard not to hop into the old like do a YouTube reaction video to patch notes type of thing, is everything comes with context, right? Like I'm already seeing people say like, oh no, what about Twice Enchanted? And as a game developer, what I would do is I would just have it built in. Like we don't have the patch notes, right? Like I just say, okay, Twice Enchanted is now default. It is built in. You now always get 2+1 enchant for every single lab that you run, right? Like, and so like there's a lot of like until we get the full patch notes, and this is like kind of an issue with the way that GGG releases things, is they do sometimes drip feed a lot of things. Like I understand the intent is they're getting people either excited or able to prepare for these things. But on the other hand, until you get those full patch notes, that's why like I will never release like a build guide before we get the full patch notes, right? Like we just don't know. Like, oh, best league starter ever before the patch notes. Be careful about that type of stuff.
Yeah.
Like when I read, like, oh, Twice Enchanted is going to be gone. I think they will find ways to build those things into the game, or they might just decide that it's maybe out of balance and they won't put it in the game. You're supposed to only run Gift to the Goddess if you care about enchanting. And I think it's we can give them their feedback, and they might just decide something's strong or not strong. And yeah, I think it's okay. But I would not, at the very least, divorce yourself from those emotions. Give a little bit of feedback, feedback in a positive way, like, hey, Twice Enchanted is very high quality of life for people that enjoy running lab, or even people, especially in solo self-found, that want to get their enchants. It makes it so, like, literally twice as effective, at least for regular lab. Consider making that baseline. Give it for your feedback. They'll see it, they'll consider it, but don't get angry. Don't get angry even before you see what they're going to do. Wait for the patch notes. And then you can feel sad. It's okay to feel a little sad if something gets nerfed, but don't get too connected with the way the game is. The game has changed so much over the years that, we don't even recognize what the game is versus what it used to be. Be very relaxed about that, and just like, you know what? I am traditionally an Elementalist player. They nerfed the crap out of her in a lot of ways. Like, you can't do a lot of things she used to do. She has changed so much. Like, you know what? I'm going to experiment. I'm going to go down there. I'm going to try to gladiator. I really like explosions. Bleed pops sound like a really cool thing to do. I'm usually not a gladiator. I'm sad that I lost my Elementalist, but hopefully she'll come back, and I'm just going to move on. I'm going to try a new thing, and don't get angry that, like, oh, Elementalist is broken. I'm so angry. I can't play the game anymore. Like, there's a lot of variety. There's other ascendancies in the sea. Don't worry, you'll find one yourself in the future.
I just hear Reddit all over your statement.
I try really hard not to use that word. Yes.
But totally. That's something about the culture of today. But I don't know. That's really whatever. We can talk about it, but I think that's whatever. We can say our opinions, but there's always someone that hears something probably out of context, and that person is just mad at you because you have a different opinion. That's just internet today, and whatever. It is what it is, I guess. But talking about Navali changes and that, what do you think like next league can bring to the table in terms to endgame? Like, just speculation, of course. We don't really know, but you want to speculate a little bit.
What will they do versus what I would want? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's always the balance. Is like, what do I want to happen? What will they do? So if we look at, if we all we can do is look at historical data. Traditionally, with the when they do the big Atlas rework type of stuff, it is something that reworks the end game and adds complexity, and it adds layers to the end game way that you play the game, right? Like, if we start off from basically the original way that they did that is when they added Shaper to the Atlas, and then Shaper and Elder, and it's just like layering, putting layers on top of that. So we look at Shaper plus Elder, Cirrus, and then Maven, right? And it's about they just keep upping the ante in terms of the complexity of the end game interaction with, how the layers you can put on mapping, the ways that you can work on the strategic aspect of all that mapping and all that type of stuff. So my assumption is, I think it's definitely time for them to remove Conquerors of the Atlas and Cirrus. I think what I would love is just a Maven invitation that is all 5 of them at the same time.
Oh wow!
I like
with garments and stuff.
Yeah. I want everything.
Oh, no.
I want all 4 Conquerors and Cirrus. And I think that would be really, really fun. Maybe make them some sort of, probably just make it as fragments or something that you have to pick up. Like, maybe you find like the default colored watchstones, and those will actually be the fragments for fighting, because I think the watchstones and everything, we're probably going to keep a watchstone system, but it's probably going to change.
I think.
So yeah, maybe we see like the old color watchstones that we can fight the Conquerors, and then we can fight all 5 at the same time, something like that. And I think we're just going to see some upping the ante with some interaction between like a new end game boss or something encounter and all of and some sort of additional layer of complexity, like maybe something on top of like Watchstones plus Maven passives plus something else that like maybe cluster. How about this? Cluster jewels for your Watchstones, right?
Oh my God.
How about that, right? You can roll Watchstone cluster jewels that actually have notable passives that do crazy stuff. Right, like something
That's actually
like
a really
that.
good idea. I really like that.
Like that seems like a thing that GGG would do, or like someone in my chat just said awakened gems, or no, awakened gems is serious moves out. What about awakened Watchstones that maybe you actually get XP in your Watchstones as you run maps in that area, and then you
wow.
can level up your Watchstones and they can get new bonuses and stuff. And when they hit level 5, maybe they get like +1 to monster level or something. So things like, because if Cirrus was pulled out, things like Booming Populace and Irresistible Temptation and Terror, those could be integrated into leveling up Awakened Watchstones. I don't know, that's crazy, just spitballing ideas. So that's my assumption off the bat for that. What I want the most, so that's what I think they're gonna do. What I want is something that evolves throughout the course of a league. Not something that forces you to grind. Like I don't want you to have to like grind and do a daily quest, but something that makes it interesting to at least pop in throughout the course of a league and see that like, oh, this like Maven has actually conquered Voldo's Rest, right? And there is like this global battle against Maven, and as the players play, like an actual like global encounter where as you're fighting, you can actually like push Maven around the Atlas or something and try to like come up with like this final boss fight that it is actually evolving, and you can log in once in a while like, oh, and then we defeated Maven a month into the league, and now this new zone opens up and you can actually like teleport to like the dark universe or something, and there's actually like this new encounter or something, and it only unlocks after doing something throughout the course of the league, because like it right now it's like I got 40 out of 40, I got my 36 out of 40, I made 2 builds, there's nothing else for me. So yeah, I would love something that evolves that, it doesn't also encourage more grinding.
Yeah, I really, really think you are on point with what probably would happen. Like maybe the Western, the cluster jewel for Western, maybe that's too much. But I don't know. GG sometimes just go crazy. But yeah, I think that's what's gonna happen. But it will be funny, like to keep some of the conquerors, like they keep Shaper and Elder. It will be fun to just keep them in some way. But I hate Cirrus so much. I just want it out. I don't like the fight.
It's my favorite fight in the game.
Really, you like the fight? Yep. What? All right, let's see. Why is your favorite fight? Let's hear it.
Because I think it's when he doesn't bug out. There definitely are bugs, right? Sometimes he bugs out, but I really don't think he bugs that often. Like I fight Cirrus at least 5 to 10 times a day. I do carries for my chat. Yeah. I fight him at least 5 to 10 times a day, every single day for the past 90 days. Like I have fought him literally hundreds and hundreds of times. He actually very rarely bugs. Like when he bugs out, it feels bad, right? It's that emotional response where you're like, oh, this fight sucks. What a bug. He's like over the tornado and he's in the corner and he's just doing die beams off screen. Like, yeah, that happens. But that's like 1 out of 50 times. It's really not that common. If you know the fight very well, you can do him hitless very easily. Yep. It's a very fast fight. If you know how to manage the tornado, it's actually deterministic. If you know exactly where to go around the tornadoes, it's like he's basically a Dark Souls fight. If you know exactly where to go, you can get right underneath him. He goes down, he goes up. You go exactly up to the right. You go to the left. You go down again. He's exactly down again. There's actually no waiting. You can actually make it almost instant, bringing him back down if you know where to go. And if you are comfortable with knowing where he's teleporting, going off the audio cues and everything, it's actually really, really easy to do him without getting hit at all. I have now fought him zoomed in 800 by 600 at 10 frames per second without my glasses and with no flask. And I don't know what other challenges, but like, and with the mouse and keyboard switched hands.
Oh my.
It is one of those fights. He is a Dark Souls fight. If you have it perfectly memorized, it is the easiest fight. He is easier than Shaper. He is easier than Elder. Yep. It is an absolute joke if you have it memorized, and it rewards you for learning it. He does bug out once in a while, But when he doesn't, it's a perfect fight.
All right, that's fair. That's fair. But I really don't like the. I think the fight until you learn it, it feels so bad. Like the storms like are like overwhelming. You see like, oh, there's no way to move around here. What do? I just wait till the storms move or whatever. Usually, also when you die, if you die in the fight, it's hard to
get back
come
in.
back. Yeah. And the other thing that's so weird to me, I don't know why they made that decision, is when he goes up and you need to be behind. Will be like behind him. No, behind him will be back.
Under.
Under. That's the word. Under him to come back. Like
Yeah.
that's so weird. Like
It
think
is
I did-
non-intuitive.
Yeah, I did it like by mistake almost, like the first time. I did it by mistake. I don't know what to do. I just go here. Oh, he comes back. And the next time I was thinking like, all right, I think I got close enough and he came back, whatever. And until I understand, oh, you need to be under him. But yeah, I think that the fight has a lot of things, as you said, like, yeah, the fight is really, really, really good. 10 out of 10 with the sounds. When he says, everything he says is a clue of what you have to do. Like everything. That's on point. Like Maven also does that really, really good. Like Cascade of Spain. All right, I need to get away a little bit and just be careful. The stand still. All right, don't stand still.
Don't stand still.
Yeah, there is a lot of things the audio cues do really good, but Cirrus, I don't know. I went the opposite way. I just started to hate him so hard.
Yeah, if I could definitely be profitable. My drops on him have been really bad this league, but he does have a really good drop table.
That's
another thing. Yeah, Maven has the worst drop table in the game.
Yeah.
But yeah,
agree.
if Cirrus, like if I knew that it was worth only running Cirrus all day, I would do like Cirrus all day. My only really complaint about him is the visibility, and what I use NVIDIA game filter.
Oh,
and I actually turn up the brightness. Yeah.
I saw it. That's another thing. Like, I don't know why they went so dark with the fight. It's
Katarina too is the same, just green and black.
Katarina is sort of thing. They have improved a lot with the boss fights, a lot. But it's weird. Like you remember at Siri is so old, and it's so good. So like the fight is just good. I can say like it's the best fight ever in the history of video games. Of course not, but it's so good. And then they came with Katarina. It was a mess. You don't know ever what's happening. Now they changed things. I don't know if you remember like the confess my childs that they start crawling to you.
The skeletons, yeah.
They didn't glow green before. There was just black on black, and you don't know.
And you're supposed to walk over them too, which makes no sense.
Yeah, exactly. Like they just improved so much. Like right now, but they have a period like they was experimenting with stuff, and I don't know. It was weird. So I'm really hyped for the next fight, the next whatever Maven father or Maven mom, whatever it's coming. I really interested with that. I love boss fights. I made like something that will be like a gamer scene. I played Dark Souls like 6 months ago for the first time.
Nice.
I never played it. It was like a complete experience. I played Dark Souls. I didn't play Dark Souls 1. I played the 2 and the 3 and Sekiro. I need to play the Dark Souls 1.
You should play 1.
I will do it. Like they were on sale, so I took the 2 and 3, and then somebody gifted me Sekiro, and I played Sekiro later. Like it's so fun. It really changed. Like, there's so little games that change the way you see games. Dark Souls is one of them.
Yeah. It's like the whole Soul series is so like it's such a cliche now and a stereotype to talk about it. But like when a game is that, or a game series is that good, it's just the golden standard. Like I don't care if it's a cliche, it's freaking good, man. And like there's just something so special and magical about like, all right, we're not going to hold your hand. We're gonna make you learn the game mechanics, but it's gonna be the best feeling thing in the world when you actually figure it out and learn it. Going back to Dark Souls 1 after playing 3 and Sekiro might be it's a wonderful game. I love it. There's one boss fight. There's one boss fight that you're gonna be there's one boss fight that I think everyone equally hates. But yeah, it's there's just something really special about that. There's so few games that have that like exploratory, really evolving like world and mechanics as well, that like when you discover something, it rewards you and it feels really, really good. And that's something that I just like really, really value.
Yeah, it's really amazing. Like the way they did Dark Souls, it feels like it's hard for me to explain. Maybe you can help me there because you developed games or you had developed games, but it's really like you can feel that the game was made with love or with they really cared about the game. Like Dark Souls like gave me that feeling. Like the first time I log in, I was like, all right, there's something clunky about the controls. And I went like Dark Souls 2 when you spawn and you go to the old ladies.
Yeah.
And the way the camera moves and everything, I thought like, yeah, this game was made like with a lot of care. Like everything is with detail and precision. And Dark Souls 3, it's another one that's crazy good. But yeah, and Sekiro, I think Sekiro is the one I liked the least.
Because, oh, really?
Yeah, but because of the way the fights are, like they are more like aggressive, more like
they're very, very aggressive. Yeah.
The other one is more like timing. You know, all right, you have like a window of 0.1 seconds to attack once, and then you have to run. With Dark Souls, with Sekiro, it's complete opposite. Like you must attack. The more you attack, the better you are, and block and stuff. Like it rewards aggressiveness a lot. And it's good. It's good. I really enjoyed it, but I like more the Dark Souls kind of combat. But Sekiro, I think, is for me right now, it's the game that had like the most I don't know, love to the game. Like they really make so many little things that just to make the game look and feel good. And I appreciate it a lot. I love that kind of game. But, well, I told you that we're going to have like 30 minutes, 45 minutes, and we are like 1 hour in. So I'm sorry if I took in so much of your time.
No, this is super fun.
I can go a little longer if you don't mind.
If you want to. Yeah, I'm down. I ain't got nowhere to go.
All right, that's awesome. So, well, I don't know. Like, can you tell me, like, you play Dark Souls? Like, in how long you play Dark Souls? Like, when you play Dark Souls, that will be the answer, the question.
Yeah, so I'm actually also newer to Dark Souls. Yeah. I played Dark Souls 1 like maybe 3-ish years ago. So I had time. I don't know what time is anymore, right? Like 2020, like. Right? Yeah. Who know? Like I don't even remember. And then 2021 was basically a baby version of 2020. So yeah, I don't know exactly what time it is, but I think roughly 3 years ago, I finally broke down and I played Dark Souls 1. And then I only played 2 a little bit. I didn't beat 2 because I had 3 and I was like, all right, I just went straight to 3. So yeah, I played Dark Souls 1, a little bit of 2, maybe just like 2 hours. And then I played 3 and Sekiro. And I haven't played. A lot of my friends, their favorite Soulsborne game is Bloodborne. And I haven't played that because it's console exclusive only, and I don't own a console. So,
Me too.
But
me too.
I hope someday it does come to Steam, and I would love to play it.
Yeah. What do you think about like the first time you played Dark Souls? Like you quit at some point, or
no? So this is gonna. I really don't like to brag. I try really hard not to brag, but right. in both Dark Souls 1 and 3, I beat almost every single boss on the first try.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Guys,
I try really hard not to brag, but I have a history. Like, I was a competitive fighting game player. I used to travel to Evo and compete, and I also understood the role playing mechanics as well of the game. So like, I didn't go into any boss fight super underleveled or anything. Like, I figured out pretty quickly the way that I could get good strength and everything. I also got very lucky. My first Black Knight that I killed dropped me the two-handed sword. I got the Black Knight two-handed sword, like the first guy that I fought in like the green area. And so I had like a really good sword early on, but then, like I was able, like I didn't like hard grind my levels, but I made sure I got like a comfortable amount of levels before I went into any boss fight. And yeah, there were very few bosses in Dark Souls that I didn't beat the first time. Sekiro's different. I did not I fought Genichiro before Lady Butterfly.
Genichiro is the first guy you fight, right? Like the intro one. The intro one that cuts your hand, no?
No. Genichiro is the guy that's up in the castle, and like where you fight Owl later. And like he's the one that has like, you have to really memorize the patterns. Like he dashes.
The thunder guy.
Yeah, the thunder guy.
Got it.
Yeah. So I fought him before Lady Butterfly. And
really?
I think he took me, I think we were counting it on stream. I think he took me like 68 tries.
Oh my God, really?
So I had to like, because I got past like the horse guy. I beat the horse guy the first try. Like, I just cheesed it and it was very, very easy. But then I went straight to Genichiro and I had to learn the game. And like, I basically didn't know how to parry when I got to him. And I had to sit down and just learn it. And then I beat Lady Butterfly like on the second or third try. Because Genichiro was like hard.
That's so interesting, because for me it was complete opposite. I got to Lady Butterfly first. It was a painful experience. Like, I don't know how many times it took. We definitely counted on stream as well. But Genichiro only took 2 tries. Like, the first try for me doesn't count because you don't know what the boss does. So I say the first try doesn't count. So I got it in the second try. And it was a really fun fight. I really, really like that fight. It was, I don't know, it just feels like right. But Lady Butterfly was a pain for me, like so painful.
I mean, she's not as easily telegraphed. Like her moves are more like, they're not like as obvious, and they come out like really, really fast. Whereas him is just like, you learn that rhythm, you just go boom, 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 and you just like, once you get that rhythm, it makes sense. And then like when you jump in the air and you get that lightning counter and you hit that is one of the best feelings in a video game. Like, and it looks so awesome.
Yeah, for sure. Like the other one that was really hard for me was the monkey, the big ape that you have to cut his head. Like, it took me so long. It was so frustrating for me. Like, it was so hard. And the first time I kill him, I was like, all right, we did it. And suddenly he stands up. There's a clip on the channel. I was like, what? the camera moves.
Yeah, that's the classic. The monkey stands back up. And then you have to fight the 2 monkeys at the same time.
I didn't fight those.
You didn't fight that one? One, that's the bonus round, yeah.
I don't know. Like, people tell me like I should be called Skipmatus because I skipped so many fights. I didn't know. There's
a lot of optional boss fights. Yeah.
I honestly like went everywhere I thought I could go, and suddenly I reached the end boss. Like that's what happened. To be honest, I wasn't like skipping because I didn't like a spoiler. I didn't see any spoiler because. Just like you, I was like, I want to have a fresh experience in this game. Like, if I know what to do in a single player game, that's dumb. Yeah. It ruins your game experience. So yeah, the only thing I know about Dark Souls 1 is because I saw Asmongold doing it. Like, there was a dragon that has like their rib cage is like Jaws.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, that's the only, and maybe there's another boss I don't remember, but yeah, up to there, because when I saw that, people in chat that for some reason started telling me like, just play Dark Souls, play it. And I said, all right, I'm not gonna see any more spoilers. And I started with the 2 because first it was on sale, and second, I didn't know anything at all. So I don't want to feel like I'm cheating because I know I saw this part about Asmongold playing that part. So I said, all right, let's start at 2 and just go from there.
But that's great. Yeah, I mean, all the games they're in the same general universe, but they're not. They're like they take place hundreds of years apart from each other. So.
Yeah, exactly. Like, well, I want to tell you something, but I want said it about Elden Ring, but yeah, I won't tell you anything. We're gonna talk later, but yeah, there is. I'm really hyped about Elden Ring. It looks so good. Like the trailer got me ultra hype. The trailer is so good, and also there is another game that you feel like it's getting you hype that's coming on, or
and Path of Exile and streaming. It's like
it's like
so
a
hard
time
to
capsule.
even know what else is out there. Yeah, that's so hard to know what's out there. Yeah, I couldn't name another actual game that's coming out besides Elden Ring, I don't think. Yeah, I think that's about it. Stinking Riot, man. Did you see it? So have you seen Arcane yet?
Yep. And
my God, right?
I must say, I don't play League. I really don't like
you
League.
don't. Yeah, you don't have to.
Because I play Dota, and back in the day it was like, if you play Dota, you must hate League. So right now I don't hate it. I feel like it's more the same than it's different. But yeah, I saw people were telling me, look Arcane, look it, just watch it. And I was like, are I gonna watch it just to criticize it, just to be mean, because I'm kind of mean sometimes. And I watched it and I was like, wow, this is gonna be a pain for every other game that wanna go to the big screen and make a series or a movie, because it's so good. If this is the new standard for gaming, for a game series, I love it because it's so good. I'm still stunned about it. I love everything except for 2 things.
Oh yeah.
The art of the thing, even though it's beautiful, I prefer it like to be or more human or less human. Like
it's like a little uncanny valley for you.
A little bit. And the other, but it's beautiful. There is no way I can say that
it looks like a painting.
Yeah, exactly. You can pause every moment, and it's a painting. It's beautiful. And the other thing, it's some things in the series, and this is not a spoiler, in case anyone haven't seen it. Looks like they made a song, and then they put the story on top of the song. That's what it feels.
I could see that.
But if this is gonna be a trend, if some series is gonna start doing that, that's the way to do it, because they did it so well. It's amazing. There is, I got stuck well, I can say it like the last song of the series. I don't remember the name. I heard it like 20 times yesterday. What could have been? The last song. It's so good. I love it. What do you think? I guess you really liked it.
I really like it. Yeah. So why I mentioned that is just like what Riot's doing in general.
Yep.
Like I'm an old school Dota player. So yeah, fun fact, I actually collaborated a little bit with Ice Frog back in Dota 1. So fun little fact. Like it's like a very, very lightly, but I was actually a top level Warcraft 3 player. And right. I actually worked a little bit in the modding scene. If people know like Enfos or Tower Line Wars or any of those old things, I actually like collaborated on some of them. And so we would actually hang out in a back when Ginsu handed Dota over. So Ginsu actually made League. But he handed
wait a second,
Dota over
You-
to IceFrog.
Your name was in the credits for the loading screen of Warcraft of the Dota All Stars.
It might have been in like Dota
That's where
6.0.
I knew that your name was so familiar.
Oh, yeah?
I saw that loading screen so many times in my life, and it was like, where do I have looked that name? Yeah, that's why.
Yeah, it might have been there. Actually, it's been so long, I don't remember.
Please keep telling. I
Yeah.
love this. I love it.
So yeah, we used to there's like, forget the name. There's like Clan TDM is where everyone would like play Dota together, and then our Clan TDA, I think. And there was actually this modding channel that was like connected to it, and we would hang out in there. And like around the time when Ginsu handed it over to IceFrog, he actually, I didn't like directly work on it, but he did, bounce ideas off of people in the channel and stuff. And I gave him tips for like, oh, this is how you set up these triggers and stuff in the Warcraft 3 mods, because he was kind of just getting into it. And yeah, then like, the rest is history. He did everything. But yeah, I am connected from Dota, like back in like, I started playing Dota. I played Dota before it was Dota All Stars. Back when it was actual Defense of the Ancients, and you would pick like there was like a rifleman and like a tree ant or something, and you actually had to like defend the Ancients. There was like Ancients of War and stuff in the middle, and you defended the Ancients against waves of monsters. It was only PvE. There was no PvP in the original Defense of the Ancients, not All Stars. And then Dota All Stars came out, and yeah, I started playing like version 5.0. I remember 5.84C. Was when they fixed a lot of loading problems. I think I actually talked to Ginsu a little bit there in the channel. Like Ginsu would hang out in there, and 6.0 after 5.84 he handed it off to IceFrog, and 6.0 came out, which I believe was IceFrog's first version, and it was super buggy and funky. But that's when like the first like full the original map was really funky. It was it was like really funky, and 6.0 is when like the real rework with like actual good 3 lanes and like actual pass and everything happened. And yeah, the rest is history after that.
Damn, you have a lot of history that I don't know. I usually I'm the one that knows the older thing about Dota. When some people talk to me, like I remember like one of the oldest things I remember was the Lycon's wolf used to bash.
Yeah.
It was so OP. And people are like, really? That happened? And now I'm blown off. Like I don't know that part. Like I remember it was called Defense of the Ancients, but I didn't know it was a PvE game at the start.
Yeah, the original version.
That's
do you
cool.
remember the original Invoker used to have, was it 21 or 27 spells? Because there was every single possible combination. Yeah. The order that you pressed QWE actually gave you a different spell.
Yeah, it was really hard also because there wasn't, when you can use a plugin that help you like they put the spells on, I think.
But every spell was a different key. Yeah.
I think T and Y, if I remember correctly. But legacy players used to use almost all keywords. It was so cool. Like, yeah, I remember that. That's so fun. Like, what do you think about that? Like the evolution of MOBAs then?
It's interesting. MOBAs are interesting. They're really interesting. I am contemplating playing them a little bit on stream and weaving that in here and there, but it's super challenging because like everyone has their own favorite MOBA. So like I play all of them at this point. Like I actually don't have a strong preference. I think they all have their own character. But I think the general, I probably just want to play ARAM or something. The general way that the game works and the amount of time that you have to put into it, it is like MOBAs are basically modern chess right now. Yep. It is like modern multiplayer team-based chess, and it's really cool. Like especially if you know Dota, and like you look at the rotations, like he picked Rubik. And they're going to have, like, I know, like, you watch the commentators, and they're like, all right, so Rubik's going to start in a tri-lane on bot, and at about 8 minutes, he's going to rotate mid. He's going to place a ward up there, and then he's going to rotate top to help out Timbersaw in the off lane. And, like, the commentators know everything. It's, like, this really intricate dance and strategies. And like, okay, they're at 11 minutes. They're probably thinking they want to go for a smoke play. And like the complexity there is so interesting. And like that's why like I for there's multitude reasons why I don't really like general professional sports, but like I would find regular professional sports more interesting if the commentators were talking from that perspective, right? Like I want them to be looking at the sport of like, okay, what's the high level strategy of like, these are the really intricate plays that they're going to do. Like, okay, at 11 minutes, we know that, their main front line is going to be a little bit tired, and we're going to start going for, plays that we run down the edge, we run down the side of the court as fast as possible to tire them out even more. And like really, really interesting stuff. Like instead it's like, it's like just a hype play. And it's just like, oh, look at the big pass. Oh, he caught the pass. Oh, he made a goal or whatever. And it's like not as interesting as like, I want like that high, that's like what I do, when I'm talking about PoE or something, is like the most interesting thing to me is like, all right, let's look at like the evolution of controlled destruction support and where it's been in Path of Exile over the course of the past 3 years. Like when controlled destruction originally came out, it did this, and then look at the nerfs that it did last patch, and then look at how people are still finding to work around that nerf. And like, let's look at like the evolution of something over the time. Let's look at the high level strategy. Let's look at the placement of certain uniques in the meta as it's gone in and out. Like that's the fun thing for me, is like, let's talk about like the high level strategy and like, just like, let's have fun in this like complicated world. And like, I am way less interested in like, this person made 10 mirrors this league. Like, sure, I don't care. But like, I really care about like, oh, how does GGG adapt certain drop like locations, right? Like, ooh, when they made the doctor card only drop here instead of this other place, and then they moved that map to this other region. Let's talk about like, and this doesn't come up enough for me. Like, I want to talk about more like, how does that impact the game, and how like SSF players and trade players and like, oh, do hardcore players now like, ooh, that's a rippier map? Is the headhunter now less available to hardcore players because that map's harder? Like, those are cool things that we can talk about.
That's so true. Like, for example, I remember like I think it was, I don't know, maybe later, Abyss. I think in Abyss the meta was playing Spire first because the doctor dropped it there. I remember because I played a lot of Spire first. And then somebody didn't even say it. Somebody discovered like, oh, Doctor also drops in Burial Chambers. And people are, oh, Burial Chamber is better because it's an open layout, so I can play like, with a turn-down shot and kill everything efficiently. And people start playing there, it not inspire first. And then people started seeing like, wait, Bolt actually dropped the Saint's Treasure card and dropped the other exalted card, the Hoarder, I think it's called. And people were like, all right, if we farm this, it's better than farming the other thing because this is consistent. It drops more often. Usually can just get the exalts, buy the cards from the people that are farming that, and you can get it faster. It's really fun. And actually, yeah, you were saying like from the developer perspective, why change this, why change that? I was talking like from the player perspective, for where's the better way to do something. That's sometimes interesting, even though I usually not do it because it gets boring really fast. It gets boring really fast for me, but it's fun to theorize sometimes.
Yeah. I mean that's a good segue into like, a lot of people will come in the chat and say, oh, how do you sustain this map? And my answer is always, I don't. What I do is I like, because like you just like, unless you're doing hard MF and like really high quant, like you will, even with a perfect Atlas setup, you will slowly dwindle that specific map. And so what I do is I will set up either 2 or even 3 regions. I'll always pull at least 1 stone for your ideal map drops. And I will just let the game tell me, let's do the ebb and flow, right? Like today I have a lot of atolls, I have a lot of canyons. I'm going to do Hayward Hamlet today. Today is going to be a harvest and betrayal day. We're just going to hang out in Hayward Hamlet. And then, oh, I'm all out of those maps. Oh, look at this. I have a lot of tropical islands. Let's do some Nemesis 3 down in Glennick. And I like to bounce between, like, I let the game kind of direct me, and I don't try to like hard sustain something. And that really helps me get away from burnout, because I'm just going with the flow and enjoying what the game is giving me and not trying to like, oh crap, I'm all out of canyons, I have to go buy it on the trade site.
Yeah, that's all other thing that I think you can testify to this. Like if you play the game, you just get stuff.
Yeah.
You just play.
Yeah. Oh, when people say like, oh, I just ran 100 maps and I haven't made a single exalt, I'm just like, what? If you ran 100 maps, you definitely got at least 150 chaos. Like,
Yep.
a map, you just put a map in and you go. On average, you're gonna like, as long as you have your atlas set up properly, you're gonna make at least 5 to 10 chaos per map. The game just gives it to you. But it's like a lot of people say, oh, no exalts dropped. Well, duh, exalts never drop. Like you have to understand what the value is of what you're getting. Like if you just go to Hayward Camlet, those essences, they add up. You sell those in bulk, you probably made 5x and you just don't know it.
Yep, that the other thing that happens is the bestiary. Like it also happens to me. Like I just capture beasts and I don't look it, and sometimes I just go because I need to, I don't know, craft a aspect of the spider or something, and we're like, oh look, I have 2 crazy chimeras. That's like 100 chaos each one, and that just happens. Like the other time, what happened? I don't remember which one it was, but it was a really expensive beast, and a guy told me, "Oh wow, I have 2 of those." That's 4x. That's amazing. I didn't even know. I gonna just farm beasts, and it was like, yeah, that's really really rare. You won't be finding that beast, but if you're doing efficiently enough and you just do it, you gonna get some money back. Always guarantee. Like this league and the last league, and I think the league before that, I've been only doing one type of farm for like a day. I never do more than a day. Like I did a little bit of Harbinger farming. I did a little bit of divine farming with the unique drop corrupted items.
Yeah.
I did a bit of Syndicate, Blighted maps, Delirium. I don't remember what else. The only thing I haven't done this league is MF. I haven't done MF this league, but everything else I just tried it. And someone comes in and say like, wait, I came 3 days ago and now you have 100 exalts. How you did that? And I said, look, everything is on Twitch. I just play the game. Just pick something, do that thing, and game will reward you. It's gonna give you stuff. Always happens. Like I think that's a really interesting thing that I don't know exactly how GG balanced that, because that wasn't the case at all. Like before,
you just get nothing. Yeah.
Yeah. Before, you lost money if you're not doing something very specific. You really lost money, and now it's complete opposite. I wanna test, like, if I do, I don't know, tier 1 maps without watchstones, without anything, I think I still gonna get money.
Yeah.
Like I'm so sure of that. I'm so sure. And I'm glad that GG did that, because game is so more enjoyable now, because you can just farm and get the stuff you want. But talking about the stuff you want, what about crafting? You think?
I mean, I'm all about crafting. What do you want to know?
You think crafting is in a good place right now?
Is crafting in a good place? Oh, it's tough. So
let me rephrase that. You think Harvest had to die for this?
Yeah, I think Harvest was OP. I will periodically. Yeah, Harvest was OP. If you don't understand that Harvest was OP, I gotta figure out the right way to word it. But like, I'll periodically log into my standard character from Harvest, and I'll show people what my gear was.
Oh yeah.
And I'll say like, hey, I made this stuff pretty, like my wand took a while to make in Harvest League, but every other piece that I have was pretty easy. Like I made almost every other piece in a single day, and without that much investment. Like we're talking, Tailwind Elusive Onslaught boots, helmet, like literally every single modifier is tier 1.
Tier 1.
And I crafted each piece of gear in just like one day. And like, yes, it was fun to make multiple builds and keep doing that, but it actually made it less interesting and less variety in the items that we made. I actually really enjoy the character that my items now have, and I've actually made some fun discoveries after that. Like one character that I was crafting for, I accidentally got stun and block recovery on almost every piece of gear, and I had 100% stun and block recovery, and I didn't have to get stun avoidance anymore or stun immunity. I had full stun recovery, and I was immune to stun because I accidentally ended up with that modifier on all my gear. And I mean, I guess there's things like light radius and stuff, but I think there is that joy of hitting something and that tension. And if that's not there and it just becomes a spreadsheet of, okay, I'm doing 1, 2, 3, have item, 1, 2, 3, have item. There's so much of the character of the game is taken away. Like, and I love crafting, but I think the right thing to do is continually work on items on the ground being better. Like, I haven't picked up a rare off the ground in years.
Yeah.
Very first thing I do with every loot filter is turn off every single rare. I do it like day 2 of the league. I don't do the chaos recipe. I think, I know people that do it successfully. I don't even waste my time. I just go straight to farming stuff. But I think if we can get to things on the ground being periodically interesting, I think we could nerf crafting even further. And I think that as much as I love crafting, the game will probably be more fun if like 1 in 5, 1 in 10, 1 in 50 maps, probably 1 in 50 to 1 in 100 maps, there is a very high chance of getting a good rare, like something that's like if you could get like Tailwind Onslaught boots off the ground, like 1 out of 100 maps. Imagine if that happened once in a while. That would be really cool. Like, you just can't do that right now. If that could happen and there was a good chance of seeing that 1 in 100 maps, I think that would be way, way healthier for the game instead of just making crafting easier.
That's a really interesting, and I wanna ask so many things. So I'm gonna ask you, what about your take on Chris Wilson wanting to remove influence? That he really said that, but he's not adamant on that. He's not sure if he's gonna do it, but he said like influence was a mistake. He doesn't like influence.
Yeah, so
Exactly because of that. Because you can pick up Tailwind Elusive, but you just can't do it. So
yeah, I mean, I think that's probably like he has the right idea there. I think there's 2 things conflated there where like he's always going to be pushing against power creep, right? And those influence things make us much, much stronger. And so he's always going to be pushing against that. So there's probably a little bit of that as well. And I think that's a healthy thing for a developer to have. Like, if we just, flick of a switch, always be gods, I think that is too much. But also, I think, the big thing about that is because of influence, if an item isn't influenced, it is inherently bad. At least to me. Like, so I also like, this is another thing that sounds a little elitist, but it's only because I have crafting knowledge. It's only knowledge. It has nothing to do with elitism. But if an item isn't influenced, to me, it's almost inherently bad because I know how to craft items cheaply. If someone, like, I have a lot of people linking me items that have like 2 tier 1 mods and 2 tier 2 mods. And they're like, how much is this worth? I'm like, well, there's no influence on it. Week 1 of the league, maybe 20 chaos. But now it's just no one cares because I can just get a Redeemer ring, throw it into Reforged Caster in Harvest, get Frostbite on hit, like almost guaranteed. And it's just going to be a better ring, right? Instead of like tier 1 life, tier 1 fire res, it's just not going to be good. And so there's definitely like, I think people have had really good ideas where like, how do we fix Maven's drop table? How about making her guaranteed drop an item with like, make it of all guarantee be a good base, like a Sadist Garb, Val Regalia or something, and have a guaranteed elevated modifier on it. Like,
that will be
elevated,
fun.
right?
Yep.
That would be really fun. It'd be interesting. Most of the time it's going to be bad. It's going to be like elevated Fizz is cold or something, right? But it makes it fun. And sometimes you hit that, you hit elevated Tailwind on a pair of boots from Maven. That's really, really cool. And I think we want more things like that. I want it to be fun to farm something and get those good power spikes to drop, 1 out of 50, 1 out of 100 times.
I need to say it, but chat is simping so hard for you right now. You have no idea.
Oh yeah.
I have to say it because it's impossible not to say at this point. All
Well,
right.
thank you, thank you, chat.
Well, so yeah, I really like that idea about just make it drop some elevated mod. I really, really like it. I haven't even thought about that. It's funny because I said, what about if Cirrus drops two influence items, like a
Yep.
Crusader, a Hunter, or whatever, and it can be shit, but it's already have 2 items. So sorry about it. So
Yeah, I think that would be great. I would love that.
yeah, that will be fun. But I don't know if we heard that thing about influence being a mistake or something. I don't know if that will make sense if Chris wanted to just remove influence from the game. I don't know.
Yeah, so I think I always try to go back to like looking at the historical data and the way that they change things, right? So like synthesize things, right? We have
I'm curious. Don't worry.
All right. Yeah. So we have like synthesized items, right? Like Synthesis League went away, and then they found a way to put synthesized items in the game, even in like Heist, right? And Heist, and you get fractured items in Expedition. They
And
find
Harvest.
ways to, and Harvest as
Yeah.
well. They find ways to keep it in the game. Find ways to keep it an interesting thing to interact with. So, maybe the concept of influence might go away, but they'll probably find a way to keep modifiers like that. Like maybe they take those modifiers and they move them into like a fossil or something, right? Like maybe they put, so like as fossils, they kind of lost a lot of power by, they pulled those modifiers out of fossils and they put them in influence. Why don't they, if they pull out influence, take them out of influence, put them back into fossils, maybe continue to expand on the essence system, find ways like maybe have very rare essences, like upgraded beyond delirious and insanity essences. Like maybe you can upgrade those and then have like a super essence that adds like an elevated mod. Who knows, right? Like something like that could be like really, really cool. And they can work on the existing crafting system without adding insane complexity by like, okay, you have to farm this, get this, go over here. And they can keep the fun and the power and the unique stuff without, while still simplifying the game, pulling out prophecy, pulling out, abyss, pulling out, older content.
I 100% vibe with what you're saying. I really, really like those ideas. Going back to the harvest talk, like the thing I really like about the harvest, and I think you might agree with me, is you can just think about a build. It doesn't matter if it's a good build or not, but you can make your gear with the harvest, with old harvest. And now it's a real pain to do it. At least there is a cost that's maybe too great, and might discourage some players to just try it. Like I won't do it because it's like 50x to just make one item because nobody's making it, so it's really expensive or whatever. That's what I most miss about Harvest.
Yeah, it's tough. So we have the problem of power creep, and what Harvest did is it made things that probably shouldn't have work because we could make perfect items that probably shouldn't exist.
All right.
And so like this was a lot of like also the expedition pullback, right? Like all the nerfs last league, like there were people saying like, oh, my build that I wanted to play expedition that I played in ultimatum doesn't work anymore. And sometimes like a lot of, so like a lot of it is like, maybe you should think a little bit more. Like cast on crit, right? There's a lot of people saying like, oh, cast on crit is dead. If triggering has a mana cost, cast on crit is dead. Well, look at what happened, right? Like they were just
not.
they were just wrong, right? They were just wrong. Cast on crit Ice Spear is one of the strongest builds still in the game, and it was last patch too, right? So like sometimes you just got to sit down and think, and sometimes it is sad. Sometimes it was like a cool build that sometimes it gets nerfed. That's just the nature of the game. But also, if there is too much power creep, things that might just not really be good builds became viable. because you've made insane gear that's like, okay, I have plus 10 to my level of lightning tendrils. Cool, lightning tendrils can now kill Elder, right? Like lightning tendies probably shouldn't be killing, Cirrus. And like easily. I know it can, but like, it shouldn't be like a good lightning tendrils shouldn't. It's supposed to be a beginner skill. Maybe there's a cool interaction there, right? But like people were taking literally every skill gem with like suboptimal combinations. They were fracturing T1 across the board on every single piece of gear and taking they were saying, oh, I'm going to do lightning tendrils, casserole channeling, firestorm, and lightning and like, I don't know, lightning teleport or something. And then like, that was the build. And it was like conceptually not a good build, but look, I have 50 million DPS because I have the most perfect gear that I can imagine. It's just an item printer. Now, I think there needs to be something in the middle, right? I do really believe, I love crafting. Crafting is one of my favorite things in the game. I think it should be approachable for you to make the item that you want to make. I actually think things like the fracture and the synthesis crafts, the T4 seeds, are too rare. I want those to be more accessible to people. I have 4 mature watchstones. I play this game full time.
Mm-hmm.
I have seen 0 T4 seeds this season.
Wow.
Not a single one. And I have 4 mature watchstones. They are just that rare. It's too much.
Since the nerf to harvest, how many augments have you seen?
Since the fewer than 10.
Fewer than 10.
Fewer than 10.
Yep. I have seen 2 or maybe 3.
Yeah.
And also I am playing this league full time. Before I was like part time because I was working. But yeah, I play a lot of PoE and I see almost any. And I don't think that's good because it's almost like it doesn't exist for most people.
I agree. Yeah, those should not be as rare as a mirror. It's I think that those are fun, important tools that help people create items for their builds, and I want those to be accessible. Absolutely.
Yeah. So, well, I think you're right. I hate to say it because it's like admitting that some skills are bad, but it's true. Like some skills are just bad, and they are like designed to be bad. But I made like a build in Harvest. It was Frostbomb. A Frostbomb build, and that was it. It was only Frostbomb, but it covers the whole screen, blows everything, freezes everything. So, and you can make it because of Harvest. So
it got really good again in 3.14. You could do Pledge of Hands, Archmage.
Yeah.
Pledge of Hands, Archmage, Frostbomb could kill the Feared in like 2 casts. Yeah.
Oh yeah. True. With the conversion to lighting, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, true. I forgot about that, but yeah, like I really like Harvest. I like the Harvest because of that. You can just have a crazy idea and work with it. Like, all right, I just need this, I need that, and you can start doing it. I would like you said, like a middle ground, something like it. But for me, it's okay that you find out that the skill you choose is shit at red maps.
Yeah, I think that's it's okay. There's a bunch of other skills you can just drop them in. You might just have a bad build, and that's okay. That's like the nature of this game. Is like when I first learned this game, I asked my friends like, okay, what should I do? And they said, get as much life as you can, cap your res. Your build is going to be bad. Don't worry about it. And then they said, go play the game. And that's what I just walked around. I got to like level 85 or something. I got to maybe yellow maps, and I died to a tormented spirit, and I ult F4'd. And that was okay. Like, and then I could have chosen to then expand my knowledge and get better at the game. But, at a certain point, games are supposed to be hard and challenging because the rewarding thing is improving yourself and learning from there. And a lot of people get attached to certain skills, certain ascendancies, anything like that. And I think it's actually healthy for there to be an ebb and flow. Like, I would way rather the game be a sandbox that sometimes skills are good, sometimes skills are bad, but it's all about adapting and learning and figuring out like, oh, because of this change, this old thing in the sandbox, like, oh my God, because of the interaction of like the infused channeling with lightning tendrils and this new support gem, like I don't know, light energy blade, casserole channeling, lightning tendrils, something, right? Like some crazy, right? Because of some weird interaction with like a crest of desire, herald of thunder. Like maybe something crazy could happen, and then this fun build comes out of nowhere. And it's not because GGG was like, okay, the numbers are bad. Because if everything is, I firmly am against everything being perfectly balanced.
Yep.
That is how you make a boring game.
Yeah.
You do, things need to be good, or things need to be bad for certain things to feel good. And it's all about the ebb and flow and the way that things change. If you ask for everything to be balanced, you do not understand fun or game balance, and you should not balance video games.
Yeah,
That's just the way. It's just the way it is.
I agree. There's some things that should be better than others, and it's okay to be changing things. Talking about changing things, what's your opinion on minions? That's a tricky question.
It's fun. It's fun. It's funny because my first build that I was ever noticed for was a minion build. I played in Blight League. I played Low Life, Shavs, Slave Driver, Spectres, and at that time the meta was Spectres were a life-based build, and no, like that. This was before Shavs. Like Shavs used to be really, really expensive.
Yeah. Really?
And so like no necromancers were using Shavs. It was just considered kind of low value. But I found a way to become like stupid tanky. I leveled in maps to 100 on my necromancer, and that was like the first build that I was actually known for, or anyone ever noticed me for. However, as I've played the game more and more, I am more of an action gamer, and if people like minions, they can have fun doing that. But I really like more directly engaging with the game. I come from playing more direct direct kinetic feeling things, and it's just like generally not my favorite. But I think it's good that they're in the game. The problem is they are so hard to balance. So sometimes they do have some like we had the necromancer meta for a really, really, really long time. And I think that was actually a little unhealthy. Like, let me quickly glance at PoE Ninja really fast here.
All right.
Let me click on builds in PoE Ninja. What are you looking at? Necromancer is still top 4.
Yep.
My girl Occultist is doing real nice though, but that's just because mostly the cast on crit. But yeah, like Necromancer has just been like, we had metas. Like a lot of people have been complaining about the imbalanced meta for a long time on PoE Ninja. Of all, PoE Ninja is not remotely accurate, but also a lot of people will it's like this really, people will gravitate to the things that are hyped up, and that's just like the way that the game works and the way the whole communication works and everything. And when people see the hype of things being especially easy to play, we had Barons like with Legion League and the like 4 leagues after that, we had like Baron Zombies and all that type of stuff, and then we had the Harvest the Crab Specters. And the Baronite whatever's. Like a lot of people just want to chill and play something easy, and I think that's okay, but we got to be careful about they got to be really careful. It's a hard thing to balance. It's so hard.
Yep. All right. That's okay. That's okay for me. There is something funny. I think I can say it. I don't think I'm gonna get in trouble for this, but if you see the screen, there is some icons. There's some emotes. There's like the minion crossover.
Oh, the cross out of it.
Yeah. That's exactly my point. Like some people say, like, first time playing PoE, just play a minion build. It's easy. You don't have to say anything. And I'm like, nope, don't do that. It's gonna put a bad expectation for the rest of the game. You need to know mechanics. You need to know stuff. And playing minions is sometimes you will do everything without even pressing a button, and sometimes you won't, and you will not have any idea why that happens, ever.
Yep.
So
100%. Like the worst thing was that when Shroud played, like absolutely nothing against Gazzy, but I thought it was like the worst thing ever that Shroud was told to play a minion build.
Oh my god!
Like
really?
we have one of the premier, most mechanically capable video game players of all time trying out PoE, and he's just playing minions. Like I wanted to see him play like some crazy mechanical, like cast on Frostbolt, Ice Nova, crazy, like he's gonna focus and then he's gonna like perfectly hit everything. And that would have been so beautiful to like see Shroud like really learn like the mechanical aspect of the game. But he was just walking around with minions, and it was just like, it was so disappointing that that's what he ended up playing.
Yeah, and that's like a general thing that people say, like just play minions, it's easier or whatever. And that's why it's like a meme in the channel. And the thing about the emotes is because for some reason Twitch removed my emotes. I don't even know why, but yeah, they removed my emotes. So well, Better TV exists, so they're there.
Put it on Better TV. Wow, interesting.
That I have no idea why. I have no idea, and it's just the icon with the cross or whatever. But yeah, I never said like don't play minions, because that's the thing. If you really know the game and you wanna just test it, yeah, do it. But that shouldn't be ever your first choice in a build. All right,
Yeah,
perfect.
Yeah, I mean, so there's, I mean, yeah. I mean, there's concessions, right? Like some people might have, mechanical restrictions, right? Like they might only have, the use of a few fingers or something, or some different type of control or something. But yeah, I mean, so I think my argument against minions would just be they are so different than every other build in the game that you are learning something. You're learning a skill that's not as cross compatible with other builds. And so I think it's totally okay to learn, like minions are fine. I think everyone should play a minion build once in a while. But I think if you only learn minions, it's going to be more difficult. It's more difficult to go from only playing minions to everything else, or instead of playing everything else and then deciding to learn minions. I think that's a harder direction to go. Oh, I'm not hearing you right now. Can
you hear me now?
Oh, now I do. Yes.
There it is. Yeah, I can agree with that. So yeah, totally. Right now, I just don't want to be like intrusive or anything, but we have 2 hours into the stream. If you feel okay, we can go a little bit longer, or we can cut there. We can always do this again if you have anything else to do. I'm okay with that. I only asked for 30 minutes, 45 minutes, so yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is up to you. It's pretty, I mean, I can make my whole stream today just this if you want to. If your chat's feeling it, but otherwise, whatever your chat's feeling.
I think chat is enjoying it a lot. So okay. Yeah, we can go a little bit longer if you want.
All right, if you don't mind, I would like to get some water as we keep talking. Take a little break here.
Sure, don't
5 minute break. All right, let me BRB in just a second.
Don't worry. So chat, hello, Subtractem chat. How are you guys doing? You like this? Let me check you guys out. Stream, mute it. Hello. How are you guys? Hello there, yo. What's up, crowds? Where are you from? I'm from Venezuela, but I live in Argentina right now. So yeah, and I became a full streamer like this league. I can say this league. Question for Krox while Sub is away. Sure. We're loving this, Krox. You're awesome. Oh, thank you, Sai. Thank you so much. How long you've been playing PoE? I'm not quite sure, but I know I played the first league of PoE. But I think I had an account with the beta, but I don't have that anymore. Yeah, low into format. Yeah. How many views do you average? I average, I think, about 2,000. I'm bad with the number. 1,000 is no 100. 200. Sorry, my English is not that good. Sorry. 200. Around that. At the start of the league, it's a little bit higher, but that's just the normal thing. Hola, yo hablo un poco de español. Ultimatum, ¿cómo estás? Congrats on jumping onto full-time streaming. I love it. I love it so much. This is for sure my dream. Some people around my family and my friends don't understand it, but I I 100% love this thing. I love it. I love being live, talking to people, talking to chat. I love this. I love it so, so much. Soy argentino viviendo en Suiza, dice Cookies. Saludos desde otro lado del charco entonces. ¿Cómo estás, Cookies? You stream in English or Spanish? Spanish, but I said to Sub, I'm just trying to jump in other streams and know more people. And most important, like I said to Sub earlier, I don't want the POE community to be like divided by languages. There's so many communities that are like, all right, this is the Spanish gamers, this is the English gamers, this is the European gamers, and for some reason everybody hates each other. Like for example, in competitive games happens a lot. So I really don't want to see that. So since nobody's doing this, I said, all right, let's do it. Let's do it. Let's just talk to some people. I talked to Tripolar Bear. It's a really cool guy.
Awesome.
And now went up into Sub. So, well, he's back. So, sorry, I was just talking to your chat.
Yeah.
So, yeah. You're good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Awesome. So, I don't know where we left off. I think we were talking about...
it was minions, yeah.
Oh, yeah, minions. So well, yeah. In the... there is actually a point reward for 1 million points to make me play minions.
Oh, nice. Yeah. So yeah, funny. I have a sub goal right now for 300 subs to make me play my next build as melee. Because I'm not a melee person. I'm usually like bows and spells. So that'll be different for me.
That's actually fun. For some reason, yeah, I really like melee. I love the melee builds, but there's no other way to say it. Range builds are better, like in almost every way. And the only guy that makes melee builds work or look good is Alkaiser. And yeah, that's why I don't play that many melee builds. And when I play a melee build, it's usually some way of Cyclone or Flicker that are kind of cheating.
Barely.
Yeah, kind of cheating. So yeah. So yeah, I get you. But there's a lot of good things now to play melee. Like for example, I wanted to test like elemental hit with melee.
Okay.
There is this clause that gives you like a lot of damage if you are low life. So you can use the I don't remember the thing that reserves half of your life or
Petrified Blood.
Petrified Blood. That's one. That's that one. So yeah, I was thinking like we can make that works and maybe make something fun there. But yeah, like the strike range and things like feels so bad compared to a bow or a spell. So I understand when people say I don't want to play melee.
Yeah, it's like it's weird, right? Like if you just think about games in general, I think this is the thing that I always do is like, thinking about mechanics in general, right? Like what is melee and what is range? Range is I am standing here and I have the ability to press a button and kill a thing over there, right? Melee is I have to stand here and you stand there and I press a button. Like this is just objectively better, right?
Yep.
Like the only way to balance it is make this thing either here or able to do more damage, because of the sacrifice of getting closer or something like that. And so you're either going to make like there's a reason why bows are expensive, right? Like what they did in PoE is they balanced it so that it takes a lot of effort to make a bow build feel good, like in general. Yes. Whereas like a melee build, you can just pick off you can just go to ROG, craft a big two-hander, that has good fizz on it, and you're good to go, for most of the game. Whereas like with a bow build, you're gonna get your Death's Opus, you're gonna get to like early red maps, and then you need to farm up 100 exalts. You just hit this wall, you gotta farm up 100 exalts, and then the build can feel good. And that's just how it's balanced in the game right now. And so like the only levers they have is mana cost or item cost or just making it feel bad. And so it's just like
Yes.
that's just like a tough thing to balance.
Yeah, that's so true. Like, I don't remember who said it, but said like, make every melee skill feels as good as Cyclone did back in Legion.
But then, like, it's not. Is it melee at that point? Like Legion
Yeah.
Cyclone was the size of the screen, and like Cyclone is such an exception to every other skill in the game, right?
It was so fun.
Yes, Slayer Cyclone and Legion was fun. You know, if you had you could have a headhunter and you stand in the middle and you just hold down right click and but like that was one of those things that was like a nice little power spike for one league, and it's a
And
good
yeah,
thing that
yeah.
it got nerfed because I was like, that's the thing
I
that
agree.
because that existed, no one wanted to do anything else. That was like the thing to do. And like, yeah, Cyclone feels really good, right? Like there's very little downsides to it besides you have to scale the AoE in a very difficult way now. But like, I would just like at a certain point, right? Like all the strike skills, all you're doing is you're trying to stack your strike range, right? Like you're turning it into a range skill, right? Like at a certain point, if you get enough melee strike range,
If you said
it's
it
not
at that,
melee.
yes.
It's not melee anymore, right? You're hitting the monster from half a screen away. Like if you are claiming you're playing melee with plus 10 melee range, you're just not. You're lying to yourself. Just go get a bow, grab tornado shot, and accept what you are.
Oh my god, that's painful but true. That's so true. Yeah, sadly, yeah, that's true. And that's something that I actually started like understanding playing Dota. Like range carries tend to be better, except the melee carries that can close the gap really quick. Like I
Yeah.
don't know, Phantom Assassin, for example. She can just blink on you, and yeah. Then-
Yeah, like look at Ursa, right? Like Ursa only works if his team is able to set it up so he can get on them, right? Like he is like he is the most melee character in
Yep.
the game. He has like the highest DPS in the game, but all you have to do is stand 1 inch away from him, and he's a sad little teddy bear. He just says that he
Yep.
can't get to you. Like you got Ancient Apparition puts cold feet on him, and he'll never hit a single person in the game. But he needs a team to set it up. Earthshaker goes in, QRs, and then he gets a blink dagger, gets in, and he can kill you in 3 hits. But like, yeah, that's just the way that melee works and everything. That's the way it works in all video games. Like you're either not melee and you're lying to yourself, or you're uncomfortable and you're thinking about gap closers. And yeah, that's why Flicker Strike is also a thing, right? Like Flicker Strike's not melee. I press a button over here and I teleport across the entire screen and I kill the entire map by just holding, right click for 1 second. Like that's not, I'm playing a melee build. I'm playing Flicker Strike. No, you're not. Like you're teleporting and killing everything. You're a mage with a sword that, has to touch them, right? Like that's all it is.
All right, what will you
like-
do to make melee feels good? I don't know.
So this is I think the big thing in this game is, and this is why Raider is my favorite class in the game.
Really fast.
And obviously GGG is gonna push back on this, but it's a fast game. Like they keep putting in things like Delirium and Scourge, where going fast is the game. Like I think fluid movement and comfort. Like the second wind nerf was like the word I hate. There are very few things where I'll say GGG was like wrong, but like that second wind nerf was just like, why? Like that is like one of the very few things that made it a little bit smoother and a little bit nicer to get around the map and like get on things. And I want to give I want them to continually think about mobility and movement and making that really, really fluid and nice. And maybe find more ways to get increased action speed, sources of tailwind, things like tailwind, anything to just make the game like not even specifically like teleporting around like Flicker Strike, but just being able to like really fluidly move around and get to the monster. And like they keep adding things like the delirium hands that slow you down. There's like a scourge like slowdown thing as well. The grasping vines debuff, the Nemesis grasping vines thing. all those different things just like make the game less fun to play. Like number one thing for me is like get freeze immune, get stun immune, get chill immune, and have a way to drop like grasping vines and hinder and stuff like that. Because I just want to play the game and get to the monsters and kill them. And if I can get to those monsters and hit them, and I'll play melee. But that mobility thing, like GGG has this like philosophical antagonism with having really good mobility and speed, but it's also just in the game still. And so it's like this weird thing where GGG tries, they remove the ways that you can get that, but they still, there's just people are going to gravitate to those hyper fast things anyway. And like the few ways you get hyper fast, people are just going to keep going to them and playing it. And I think I want them to give more utility and more ways to get, at least, things like second wind, anything like, I think Divergent Frostblink is a very healthy, good thing. Yes. Where like, if you like, really you get some good cooldown recovery and you have good monster density, you can spam Divergent Frostblink really, really well. And I want more things like that so I can just like get around the map.
Yeah, for example, one of the things I always do in almost any build, but especially on melee builds, is dash with second wind and enhance. It feels like a mile better. Even I can even go as far as saying like, all right, let's sacrifice the enchantment and have the +2 dash charges.
Yeah,
it's so good. It's a game changer. It's incredibly how good it is. And I always try to do that in on the fourth link is Blood Rage, because it gets more attack speed with enhance. But yeah, I always do that because it feels just better. It feels better and it's more enjoyable. But yeah, like I don't know what they can actually do. Like, yeah, utility is good, but like you say, like at what point the problem is that is the other classes can also benefit with that, and the gap I think is gonna be even larger. So that's the issue, and they trying to like separate things. Like for example, Fortify. They're trying like, all right, Fortify is only for melee, but because back in the last league, it was like not really. It was for everybody, and people with wands were using it anyways, and I don't know. So at some point, it feels like I understand why they are doing that, but I don't know if it feels good, because I like to have like a million tools and do whatever I want, instead of saying like, you want to play melee? All right, these are your tools. Don't look at these ones. That's not for you. That's only these tools. That's the one you can work with. And I don't really like that too much. I like to have like you said, like a sandbox, a lot of things to play with.
Yeah, I mean, that's the beauty of PoE, is that you can move around anywhere on the tree. Like all your class does is give you a couple things and a starting point on the tree, and then you can just path all the way over to the, a raider could path all the way over to the left side and grab, elemental stuff and, things near the Templar tree, and you have to stretch for it, but that is the character of the game, that like everything is available. And I think, in GGG is doing that with like more and more with the change to Trickster, putting Ghost Shrouds on the passive tree. Unfortunately, Heartstopper is not as strong of a thing to give him as a reward. But
the new Ascendancy Keystone, the new Ascendancy passive.
Yeah. Heartstopper with the anti damage over time.
Wow. Yeah, they did dirty with the
that poor Trickster.
Oh my god. That's the thing, like that's why I hate minions. Like every class in the game, every class gets punished.
So that's why I hate minions.
Gets punished so hard. Like they had Trickster was just good, not OP, just good, and they kill him. But in the other side, Necromancer is just as OP. Like it's so good.
Jeez, but like it's so funny. They nerfed Necromancer and minions in general like 5 leagues in a row, and it's still
not enough.
It's still one of like the top 4 played things in the game. It's tough, like, because if they nerf it too much, it's just not worth playing, or it'll feel really, really bad. It'll feel like playing melee or something. But like, how do they make minions feel good and be balanced and not be insane? I don't. So the problem is Necromancer is just insanely overloaded. Like, not only does she get the bone armor and she
Yeah.
gets free gem levels and all that, but then they also give her like the corpse pact thing where she gets 200% attack speed and like, hey, she can also do these other things too. Like, she is just a very
Regen.
overloaded. Yeah, and all the regen and everything. And then when she gets the using the
Offerings.
offerings on herself, like
Insane. Everything
she
is
is
so insane.
overloaded. Yeah.
On the
Yeah,
other
that's
side, you
tough.
have Trickster. Oh yeah, damage over time sometimes doesn't hurt. Like,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
there is someone on GGG, probably I don't know, some top guy that says if you touch Necromancer, you're no longer part of the company. And they say, all right, just leave her like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I also really believe in bringing up the weaker things. Like, absolutely, if you find
Yeah.
like broken stuff, cut that off. But like, I also really believe in bringing up the weaker things. Like, I think occultist and raider, those are my two favorite classes.
Yes.
I think they're in really, really healthy places. I think they're just really healthy classes that have a lot of variety, like so many different ways that you can play them. And like, I want to see the weaker ones like Trickster get some love, and let Raider and Occultist be where they are. Let when they saw Elementalist, why like, she was the
Or-
most played class for one patch,
One
and
patch,
they're
yes.
just like, oh, Burning Arrow's OP, and then just like they just gutted everything so hard. Like, oh yeah, her defensive shield, cut it in half. All of the golem ailment immunity, cut that out. Like, just literally remove it. Don't even cut it in half. Like,
Yes.
they went really, really hard on that. And maybe they see something that I don't, but I don't know. I really just want to bring up the weak things, like give Jug a little love, maybe pull back on accuracy stacking a little bit, buff his other things, give him another damage node somewhere else. Maybe, look at Chieftain and give him a little bit more character, not just like, oh, like, I know he's all fire based, but like, it's really, really boring with like, oh, some more fire damage here, take less fire damage there. That, like, it's just like really, really boring. Like, give him some really extra character where, like, I don't know, he transforms into a bear. I don't know. Like, give him something really, really cool that gives him some flair and makes it more exciting and interesting to play. I want to bring them all up.
Yeah, there is something like there's some classes that have like so many ways to play it, and others are like, yeah, you can play totems or fire conversion. That's all you can do. And yeah, I think I don't know, it's weird. It's really easy to criticize, but they need to do that. Like, they need to like go a little bit back and just have many ways to play a class. That I think the point they think. I remember. You remember on Bestiary when before the Bestiary launch, they asked Chris, "What's the best beast to have from the new NX?" And Chris responded, "We ask every person on the team, if you wanna play a tanky class, a tanky character, should you wear the full crab set, or what part should you wear?" And everybody gave a different answer.
Mm-hmm.
That's the right thing. They should do exactly that with classes. Just ask, like, if you want to play a chieftain, what can you play? Everybody gonna say like, yeah, fire conversion or totems. But if you ask that with occultist, for example, then all right, you can play, I don't know, Cast of Crit, you can play Cold Slinger, you can play some chaos stuff like Toxic Rain, Caustic Arrow, you can play Dead Aura, you can play so many stuff. That's the thing. You need to have like so many things that everybody gives you a different answer, or at least some people, not everybody, right? But some people should give you a different answer.
I think that would be a good measure of if the classes are looking and feeling good. I like that idea.
Yeah. Well. I don't know what else to go from here. We talk about so much stuff, and I want to keep talking, but I don't know where to go. Do you have an idea?
No. I mean, we don't have to push it. We can let it naturally naturally subside as well.
All right. Well, think we can call it a day for this time, and of course there is if I say there is a pleasure to be here, that's an understatement. I really enjoy having this time and chatting about so many stuff. This is all I like about streaming, just knowing new people, talking about things, hearing new opinions. That's so fun to me. So I really appreciate the time you're taking to be here and just spend some time with me and with chat.
Yeah, no, well, thank you, chat, and everyone for all this opportunity. Like, this was super fun. Like, it's it's not that often that it's this easy to talk to someone for this long, and like you really connect on so many different ideas, and like understand. Like, it's good to know that especially there's a wider international community that feels similarly about the game and just wants to have fun and hang out and everything. My chat loves you too, so they absolutely love you and have
Thank you.
enjoyed this very much.
Well, Sab, thank you so much again. Thank you for taking the time to be here. I know you're doing this full time, but still, I appreciate so much to taking the time. And if you, in any moment, you need anything from me, I can tell you like on private or here. You can just ask me or call me. I will be there. So thank you so much. And if you have anything else to say,
I mean, I always say is you guys are awesome, and just remember to have fun. It is just a game, and there's nothing more to it. Make sure you're enjoying your life. Optimize for happiness.
that's I'm gonna use that as a title for YouTube. That's so good. I love it. Well, guys, thank you so much for being in this Kroxover. Of course, just follow Subtractem on Twitch, YouTube, and Twitter as well. He's an awesome guy, in case you haven't noticed. Thank you so much again for being here, and I'll be back in I don't know, 5 minutes.
All right, bye everybody. Bye.
Bye.